Let's avoid DNPs. I mean, come on. 5 main slates so far. I've had a DNP in 3 of those. Alexander opening night. Then we had Jose on Saturday. Tonight, Bruno Caboclo. Now, I knew the risk. I actually posted about it multiple times on Patreon. I was like, I think there's DNP risk. Of course, we didn't get Jazz started before lock because the other game ran late. That Bucks game had 250 points total and just went very long, so we didn't get the Jazz starters before lock. And we get, of course, news after lock that Bruno is out and in street close. I've lit all my profits on fire because of these DNPs. Now, that's part of Summer League. It is. But, man, it's I feel like if it wasn't for bad luck, I'd have no luck at all. So, brutal with the DNP because I had Bruno in both the main and the late. So, once again, got my shovel. Took about $300-400 right into the flames with the DNP. So I'm hoping I can avoid a DNP for this 6-game slate. Hopefully you guys avoided it. And yeah, let's talk about this slate. So Memphis and Brooklyn's the first game here. On the Memphis side, we'll keep an eye on news. Right, last game we did have Tillman and Zaire Williams rest. We'll see. It's not a back-to-back, so the main guys could play in this one. If they don't play, then guy like Santi Aldama had 22 steals last game. He would definitely look pretty solid there. You did have Lofton pick up the start. He was very bad, but another decent point per minute guy. And yeah, so we'll basically just keep an eye on news there for Memphis. That is the first game, or I guess, yeah, because there's one showdown game, and then this Memphis game, there's 2 courts. So we should get the starters for a lock for this Memphis-Brooklyn game. On the Brooklyn side, so they've been running a pretty tight rotation. Cam Thomas, Day'Ron Sharpe, David Duke, even throw Kessler Edwards in there have all been playing some pretty big minutes. You guys know the drill with Cam Thomas. He's going to do some ball handling. He's probably going to shoot 20-plus times. He looks great at the top. Day'Ron Sharpe had a really solid game last game. Basically a guy that's, going to get you close to double-double with steals and blocks. I think he looks very safe there at 8-1. David Duke, a little bit riskier. Also, they're $2,000 cheaper than Cam Thomas. And then Kessler Edwards has been not great, but he's relatively cheap. And, hey, he saw rotation minutes in the playoffs. So you would think he could be a little bit better. But, yeah, he's been a pretty low-usage guy so far, even in the Summer League. Gray has also started the first couple games. He's only 4.6K. I think he's a solid value, assuming he continues to start. Atlanta and Miami is the next game. And Atlanta, it's hard to trust anyone right now. They've looked awful. Griffin's been out. Sharif Cooper has... Oh, man. Whew. Wow, was he bad. Because it's kind of surprising. Last Summer League, he looked pretty good, Sharif Cooper. If you look at his stats last Summer League, he had some pretty good games. 21-9-1, 21-12-1. He has looked horrific. Absolutely awful. Just a dart throw in tournaments. He's looked so bad. And Atlanta's running a pretty deep rotation. That's hard to trust a lot of these guys. Kinjo had a decent game 1 off the bench. He didn't do much tonight. Georgios Hunt started, but didn't play a ton. They're really spreading out the minutes. So, if you feel really good about one of these cheap guys, you can go for it. But hard to trust anyone on the Miami side. A team that I feel like you can have a little more confidence with. We did get confirmation, unfortunately, that Yurt Goat 7 is out. But yeah, Miami ran a relatively tight rotation. Jovic at the top feels a little bit too pricey. He had that one big game. Other than that, he's been a little bit disappointing. Haywood Highsmith of 7-3, I think is a pretty safe play. He's played pretty consistent minutes, put over 30 minutes last game. A guy that kind of an energy wing / big. Javonte Smart, he's a guy that will have relatively high usage. Hasn't really had the best efficiency so far, but he's only 6.4K and should get some solid minutes. Mulder, score independent, but he's a guy that will chuck when he's out there. Robinson has started at the center position. He's only 4.7K, does have small forward, power forward eligibility. Assuming he continues to start, I think he's definitely a solid salary relief play. All right, Boston and Golden State, the next game here. So as far as news goes, Sam Hauser got banged up, so keep an eye on that. I would assume he's probably not going to be able to play for this game, but we'll keep an eye on it, like I said. Davison, Berrigan, Thomas, all at the top. I think Davidson probably would be the guy I would look to. He'll play a lot of the point guard position there. So I don't mind him. Should play, close to 30 minutes. Kabengele had a really solid game. He was only 5.8K. He's been starting at the 5 the first couple games. A guy that can stretch the floor, also good rebounder. I think he looks pretty good there for value. Travion Williams hasn't really played that much. He's only 4.7. I mean, he'll be productive when he's on the court, so he's not out of play. But unless he starts, just more of a tournament play. Matt Ryan. So it was funny. We had Matt Ryan versus AJ Green tonight in the Summer League. Wild stuff. But yeah, if Hauser doesn't play, you might see Matt Ryan pick up a start. He's only 4.4. He's had a couple good shooting games so far in the Summer League. So definitely someone we could get some. Wait, what? It said my OBS quit, but it's still going. Okay. I'm just going to go on the assumption that this is still recording. Okay, so let's move on to Golden State. Golden State don't know the status of the main guys like Kuminga, Wiseman, Moody. There's been rumors that they might play in this game. We'll see. Obviously, if they do, Kuminga's going to look really good at the top. We saw Moody have an amazing game 2 games ago. Wiseman, he'll be productive when he's on the court. The only issue is that he's probably not going to play a ton. He played 20 minutes last game. McClung had a really, really good game last game, but you did have Moody out. If Moody plays, McClung's definitely not going to look as good. Still has some interest in him, but wouldn't be as good of a play. He's a guy that can put the ball in the basket, but again, if Moody plays, you would assume Moody's going to do a good chunk of the ball handling there. And then Witherspoon's fine value at 4.8. Detroit and the Pacers. So keep an eye on the news here for the Pistons because we know Cade and Sadiq Bey are not playing. Ivy rolled his ankle. Saban Lee rolled his ankle. So we could have some value here for the Pistons, depending on what they do with the starting lineup for guards. So like I said, we'll keep an eye on that one. Jalen Duren's 9.2. He did play a lot more in the most recent game. He played 26 minutes. Good point per minute guy. Him and Isaiah Stewart. Surprised that Stewart has played the first couple games. We'll see if maybe he gets shut down. You could see more run for guys like Braxton Key, Isaiah Livers, I think are solid values. Then, kind of whoever starts at the guard position, if both Saban Lee and Ivy are out. On the Pacers side, so last game they rested Duarte. We'll keep an eye on that news. Relatively high price points here. Mathurin feels too pricey. Nemhard also a little bit too pricey. Isaiah Jackson's a guy that I'm okay paying this price point for because the minutes went up last game. He played 26 minutes last game, so if we get similar run for Jackson, I think he looks pretty good. And then Terry Taylor, 6.1. We kind of know what we're getting out of him. Should play mid to high 20s minutes. Probably give you, around 20, 25 fancy points. I think it's totally fine. And then that's it. Possibly some value if they rest more guys. We'll keep an eye on it. Duarte, if he plays, obviously viable as well. Phoenix and Dallas. So Phoenix got absolutely destroyed last game. Tilted me beyond belief. But the main 3 guys that probably played the most would be Wainwright, King, and McKinley Wright. Wainwright's 8.2, so a little bit tough to prioritize that. Lewis King, a little bit easier to get to at 6.8. He also didn't have no one had a good game for the Suns last game. But those 2 and McKinley Wright would be the guys I'd probably look to. Wright's only 5.2. He'll be the point guard. He almost had a triple-double game 1. And I think we probably get around 25 minutes or so from him if the game stays competitive. As far as the center position goes, you had Reith get injured last game. Olivier Sarr is 5.3, but they're really spreading out the minutes behind Wainwright, King, and Wright. So hard to trust anyone else. On the Dallas side, so Jaden Hardy, like I said, he's going to be aggressive offensively. He didn't have the best efficiency game, but he's going to play big minutes and shoot the ball a ton, and he'll do some ball handling. I think he looks pretty good. AJ Lawson as well, also been playing pretty big minutes. So those 2, I think, look pretty solid. Wright's just too pricey. He's just not getting enough run. I mentioned Bingham. He had 3 steals and 3 blocks. Again, they're spreading out the minutes for the big position, but he's way cheaper than Wright, so I'd rather go to Bingham. And yeah, Paolo had a really big game 1. Didn't do much in the starting lineup game 2. And finally, the Lakers and the Clippers. So price points are relatively cheap here. I think guys like Christie and Pippen certainly in play. Pippen probably the guy with a little bit of a higher floor. Christie more scoring dependent. Huff's been out last couple games. Swider's played some big minutes, but again, relatively scoring dependent. But he has shot well recently. Mason Jones, a guy that can come off the bench and kind of bring that spark plug. I think he's okay at 4.8. Paris Bass even in play at 4.6. So I don't know if there's any clear standouts for Lakers. Maybe Pippen, probably my favorite, but a lot of viable cheap options here. You even saw a little bit of Sharif O'Neal the last couple games. And finally, the Clippers. So the Clippers, they did blow out the Grizzlies. So you didn't get full run for the main guys. But even if you did, you weren't going to see huge minutes. You would have seen low to mid 20s minutes for these guys if the game did not blow out. Diabate 7.6. Again, shot blocker, can stretch the court. I think he's fine. Boston, Moon, Scrub, Preston. All these guards are in play. I think it's a little bit easier to get to Preston and Scrub for the price points. But Boston, the guy probably with the highest ceiling. But yeah, all 4 of those guards, definitely viable. Reggie Perry got some backup 5 run. We know he's a good point per minute guy. And again, he showed that last game. So I think he's a solid salary relief play. Brantley started. He's only 4-2. I think that's also viable. So that's a quick rundown, guys. Again, if you are looking for more in-depth content, you can check out my Patreon, where I will post all the starting lineups, all my projected starters, news, player polls, cores, live streams, late slate breakdown, early slate breakdown, all that stuff. Again, if you're interested, check it out, linked down below. But I'll wrap it up, guys. Again, good luck on tomorrow's slate, and I'll see you all in the next video.